This might be my favorite video that we have ever done. We're gonna check out how useless Sonic is in every Sonic video game.
Wait, who let Shadow pick the video that we're gonna watch today?
Sorry man, that's my fault.
How come Shadow got to pick the video when I didn't?
Probably because you picked the one where he died 100 times.
I gotta admit, that one actually was pretty funny.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Anyways, everybody watching right now, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and let's find out how useless Sonic really is.
Wow, Shadow, thanks so much for that amazing intro.
Sometimes the fate of the world's at stake and he 100% delivers, and other times he relies on his friends a bit too much or just does something stupid to make things worse.
What? How do I make things worse? I don't think I like the way that this video is starting out, boys.
Today, we're gonna look at Sonic's character in every mainline Sonic the Hedgehog game and rank him from worthless to elite.
I do not understand. Why would Sonic be worthless in his own game?
I think that's why we're all watching this video, Metal. We're gonna find out.
Sonic's just running around super fast and saving tiny animals from the clutches of the evil Dr. Robotnik, and sets up a great foundation for his character. But compared to some later portrayals, it's nothing spectacular.
What do you mean it's nothing spectacular? Do you know how hard it was to be a face of a franchise back then?
I think all he meant was, compared to the later versions of you, this one was not the best.
Well, obviously, that's to be expected, right? It was my very first game.
So he'll go to.
I knew it. You got typical for your first game.
Sonic 2 ups just about everything from that first game. Faster levels, brighter environments, more characters, more emeralds, and a new form for our blue blur, Super Sonic.
If this game does not show up towards the top of the list because of me, then I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of this video.
Now, Tails does travel with him, but he's not dependent on him for anything. Sonic's a role model to him, and Tails desperately wants to tag along.
I want to be mad here, but he does make a pretty good point.
I believe you were the first character to not make a difference in the overall plot.
Wow, Metal, that was cold. There might be some hope for you yet.
And I'm gonna be generous and push him up to elite for it.
Okay, good. At least that makes me feel better.
I don't know what to do with this one, because Sonic's able to time travel, which is super useful, but everything depends on whether or not you get the good or bad ending. Some futures are destroyed by Eggman, and others flourish in his absence. It all boils down to how well the player plays the game.
I believe I speak for everyone when I say this one is the best one in the franchise.
I mean, obviously you were introduced in this one, but that's not remotely true.
It makes him tough to rank, but him having so much control over the fate of the world makes me have to put him at least up in typical hero.
Ha! Typical hero! Take that,
I'm
Metal.
grouping Sonic 3 with Sonic and Knuckles again because it's the definitive version and gives us the best look at the complete narrative.
I mean, he's not wrong. That's when the plot started to really cook, and obviously that's because of yours truly.
Oh, give me a break, Knuckles. You just wait till we get to Sonic Adventure 2.
Eggman's trying to relaunch the Death Egg and tricks Knuckles the Echidna into helping him steal the Master Emerald. Instead of an overweight roboticist being his main competitor, here it's another anthropomorphic creature with powers that very much rival his.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying rival, but whatever.
Once Knuckles changes sides though, it's basically over. Sonic rips through the Death Egg and goes super to defeat Eggman. But if you collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds and convert those to Super Emeralds, you can unlock Hyper Sonic for the only time in the series.
And I mean, I don't think I need to say it, but for that reason alone, I think this game is the best game in the franchise, hands down.
I mean, it's the only game to this day where Hypersonic was introduced, so I have to agree here.
He's even faster than Super Sonic and can breathe underwater, making this the strongest form of Sonic we've seen to date. That alone makes this a really straightforward elite.
Okay, good. I wasn't gonna settle for anything
In
less
Sonic's
than
fake
elite.
3D game, he's not doing anything too crazy. This new gameplay style makes him feel a lot slower and less agile than the classic games, which makes playing as him not feel nearly as satisfying. Plot-wise though, it's basically Sonic 1. Eggman's after the emeralds and Sonic tries to save a bunch of flickies and stop the Doctor.
I hate to say it, Sonic, but this is definitely not one of my favorite games in the franchise. Sorry, bro.
It's all good, dude. Any game where I can't go my full speed, for some reason, just feels, I don't know, different.
I don't know if I would have given 3D Blast a typical because it was fake 3D, but whatever.
Excellent transition to 3D for the Sonic series. It carries over the level design philosophies, his moveset, and adds a couple new moves to make navigating this 3D space easier.
This is a game that I could totally get behind. Sonic Adventure 1 was peak.
But his plot significance is watered down by the inclusion of a bunch of other characters. And that's not a bad thing, but it is for Sonic's role. Now, he's just one of 6 playable characters.
It's true, this is the first time in the franchise where Sonic had to share the spotlight with so many characters.
I mean, I thought it was healthy for the franchise overall. I mean, more characters equals better game, right?
And sure, his story is still the main event, but when you play through Tails' story, you see him beat Sonic to the end of every single stage. For the fastest thing alive, you'd expect him to easily outrun his pal.
I mean, Sonic, for what it's worth, I don't think I was really faster than you in that game at all.
Oh, no, buddy, it's fine. I'm actually glad that I can share the spotlight with you guys.
Sure, Sonic, whatever you say, bro. Just keep holding back those feelings.
Shadow, have you stopped to think that maybe everybody is not like you?
You got that right. Nobody is like me.
And toward the end of the game, when Sonic defeats the Egg Viper and sends Eggman plummeting towards Station Square, he's off doing something else, and in a last-ditch effort, Eggman sends a missile at Station Square to blow it to bits. And the only one around that can do anything about it is Tails, so all by himself, he beats Eggman to the explosive and defeats him, which is a big moment for him, but makes Sonic out to be super careless and not having the situation under control at all.
Come to think of it, he does make a very good point. The plot got out of control because of Sonic's carelessness.
You know what, Metal? You tell it like it is, and I like that.
But when perfect chaos takes its full form, Sonic goes super and is the only one that stands a chance against that thing.
Come on, guys, you have to agree. That was one of the coolest scenes in any game by far.
That moment is pretty elite, but with the big focus on other characters and him failing to stop an Eggman missile, I've got to knock him down to typical hero.
I just got typical hero for Sonic Adventure 1, one of the best games in the franchise? What did I sign up for today?
It is not about how good the game is. The video is titled How Worthless Sonic Is in each mainline Sonic game.
I just like hearing the words worthless and Sonic in the same sentence.
This game introduces a new character whose abilities contend with that of Sonic's.
Now we're talking. You guys are about to find out the new best game in the franchise, boys.
When they first meet, he puts his speed to shame using Chaos Control.
You hear that, Sonic? Puts you to shame. How does that make you feel, bro?
Shadow, calm down. There's still a whole bunch of games on this list, dude.
If it weren't for Tails and somehow Amy, he probably wouldn't have gotten out, and the island would have exploded with him on it. He's kinda dependent on all his friends throughout the game. He needs Knuckles to break into Eggman's base, and he needs Tails to devise plans for him.
Okay, I'm just saying, I don't know how that's considered a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing by itself, but I think he's trying to prove just how worthless you really are.
But he proves that he can be just as strong as Shadow, and the boss battle that follows only further solidifies that.
Wait, just as strong as me? Yeah, let's go ahead and back it up and call cap on that one.
What's wrong, Shadow? I thought you said this was the best game in the franchise, bro.
It is the best game, but sometimes people can get their facts wrong, dude.
But then for the epic final battle against the Bio Lizard, Sonic takes a backseat and lets Shadow handle the first phase.
See?
Then when the
I
Bio
told ya.
Lizard takes over the space colony and sends it straight at Earth, he goes super alongside Shadow.
I really wish they would have added the Bio Lizard to Sonic Movie 3.
Yeah, that would have been totally cool, bro.
I don't know, it's tough, because he really grows a lot as a character throughout the game and learns some sick moves, but he really relies on his pals, and Shadow does most of the work in actually saving the day.
Oh, weird. Shadow does most of the work and saves the day? Huh. Who saw that coming? Not me.
He also said that Sonic trusts his friends more, so that's why he didn't do most of the work.
This game also features some of his most fun levels in the series, but these rankings are about how useful he is compared to his other games. And because of that, I gotta put this one in Sidekick tier. I love you, Sonic Adventure 2. I'm sorry.
Wait, Sonic Adventure 2 didn't get an elite ranking? I don't know about that.
I don't know if I can take the rest of this video seriously if this is how it's gonna go.
It must feel pretty weird being a sidekick in a game where I debuted in, but whatever.
Wait, you're not mad that he gave your debut game a sidekick rank?
Why would I be? He's given the game a sidekick rank, not me.
I'm grouping this trilogy together again because his role is super consistent throughout. In Sonic Advance 1 and 3, you can choose from at least Sonic or Tails right from the get-go. Sonic Advance 2 is the only exception, but after beating just the first level, you unlock Cream the Rabbit. So he kickstarts the game, but like the others, is just a selectable character from that point on.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I never had a Game Boy Advance personally.
Yeah, I was way too busy being awesome to have one of those things.
He's definitely useful, but not more so than his pals, so he's one with the sidekicks.
In your face, you got another sidekick rank,
Sonic
dude.
Heroes introduced a new team mechanic to the series, where characters travel in threes and fall under a speed, flight, or power archetype.
I personally thought that Sonic Heroes was a really good addition to the franchise.
Me too. I thought it was super fun.
Sonic's, of course, the speed guy, and he travels with Tails and Knuckles. However, power and flight are definitely the more useful abilities, but he's still a decently equal contributor, and nothing more. Sidekick.
Seriously? The last 3 games have been considered a sidekick. What is this?
Don't worry, dude. There's still a whole bunch of games to go.
The main character in this one is pretty self-explanatory.
Boom, you heard that one, boys. It sucks to suck, Sonic.
Sometimes travels with Shadow through a level and can be played as with a second controller.
Wait, I didn't know that. You can press pause on the second controller and play as Sonic in this game? That's so cool.
Yeah, let's not talk about that, okay, Silver?
Oh, what's wrong, Sonic? Are you just upset because you're basically my Tails in this game?
This game has a whole bunch of story routes that change the way things play out. If Shadow helps the heroes, Sonic and Co defeat Black Doom. But if Shadow helps him, Sonic can't do a thing to stop it. This is about as helpless to a situation as we'll ever see Sonic, so I'll take the opportunity to give him his very first worthless.
You know what? I'm not even gonna fight this one, boys. This is definitely a low point for me. But at least it's only up from here, I think.
Sonic Rush feels features the new character Blaze, whose dimension is being merged with Sonic's by some evil plan from the two Eggmen. Sonic's the strongest character across both of these dimensions, and his gameplay introduces the boost mechanic, which makes him feel wicked powerful and fast. I think that's enough to push him up to an elite tier.
It's crazy how my next elite is on a Nintendo DS. I definitely did not have that on my bingo card.
Yes, I cannot wait to see where you fall with this game, dude.
But Sonic's distracted by Elise for most of the game, while Silver's trying to avenge his fallen society, and Shadow's trying to figure out the sinister undertones of Eggman's plan.
I'm not gonna say this game's the best game in the franchise, but that is not what I was doing here.
I don't know, man. You did spend quite a bit of time with Elise, I'm just saying.
I would have to agree. Sonic spent a majority of his time with this character than actually trying to save the world.
Did you guys even play Sonic 06? Because that is not even remotely true at all.
He still crosses paths with the rest of the crew a lot, and contributes quite a bit then, but in the climax of the game, Mephiles kills Sonic and makes Elise cry, which releases Iblis and sends the world into disaster.
Sonic dies in a video game. There we go. Now that is A+ material.
He actually dies, and it takes the effort of every other character and a miracle to bring him back. But alongside Super Shadow and Super Silver, they save the day. So instead of needing one other guy's help, he needs two. I gotta put this down and barely wins. He gets killed, it's done, and the bravery of his friends is the only reason he comes back. It's debatably worthless, but at least he does something.
Dang it, you were this close to getting worthless 2 games in a row.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna count that as worthless in my books.
Like the first Sonic Rush, Adventure brings back the boost style and Blaze the Cat, but this time the story is way more focused on the two of them working together. They seem way more like equals here, and all the cool vehicles that Tails and Marine are making take even more focus away from Sonic himself.
Oh, come on, now I'm gonna get penalized for adding a whole bunch of new gameplay styles to make the game just a little bit more fun for new players?
Once again, Sonic, he wasn't talking about how good the game is, he's talking about how worthless you are in it.
Oh, here we go, Sonic Unleashed. Bro, you have got to get an elite tier for this one. I'm just saying.
Eggman has so many robots and weapons firing off all at once, and Sonic looks absolutely unfazed by it all. But he gets a bit too cocky, lets his guard down, and Eggman makes him pay for it. He decimates the planet, turns Sonic into his werehog form, and sends him back toward the surface.
Really? I get no props at all for falling from space?
I mean, let's be honest, all of us have done it at least one time or another.
From there, he goes on a globe-trotting adventure with his new buddy Chip.
If we're putting all of our cards on the table here, I cannot stand Chip.
Instead, it's daytime stages that feature that boost formula in 3D for the first time, which are adrenaline rushes through and through, and nighttime stages, where stretchy arm werehog Sonic beats up waves upon waves upon waves of enemies. He gets all the emeralds, puts the planet back in one piece, defeats the Egg Dragoon, and faces off against Dark Gaia as Super Sonic. He goes super all by himself again, and faces off against one of his most menacing looking foes to date. And that, with being the only playable character in 2 different forms with their own distinct strengths, makes this an easy elite.
It's about time. After getting worthless all those back-to-back, this feels like a pretty big win.
It's pretty easy to get an elite tier when you're the only playable character in the game, bro.
But isn't that the point of this entire tier list?
Both episodes of Sonic 4 feature a pretty vanilla retelling of the original Sonic games. Eggman's back to stealing emeralds, building up a death egg, and Sonic's back to saving Flickies and stopping him with the help of Tails. And that's a decent portrayal of Sonic. Typical.
For me personally, I thought Sonic 4 was really good. I mean, it might have been a little bit vanilla, but that's okay.
Silver, just admit it. The game is mid and you know it.
I mean, it had side-scrolling, and I'm all about that.
Come on, Red. Side-scrolling is so 1990s, bro.
What's wrong with side-scrolling?
This game has a super silly tone, and Sonic tries to crack cringy jokes in almost every cutscene.
Baldy nose hair! That's the best thing I've heard all day! Shut up!
It's hard to watch.
Baldy nose hair Sonic? Come on, dude. Did you really think that was gonna be funny?
Yeah, that was terrible. I'm actually judging you right now.
Come on, guys, it was not that bad. You guys are just being ridiculous.
But he's pretty average overall, and the Wisp transformations bring a slew of new abilities to Sonic's arsenal. But since they're temporary and dependent on power from another creature, I'm not really gonna raise his ranking.
Oh, come on, those Wisp abilities were super cool and innovative.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that, Sonic.
Yes, Sonic Generations, this game was
brings back
amazing.
One of Sonic's friends for the first time in a while, but they don't do anything. The Time Eater shows up and sucks everybody into a void, leaving just Sonic to go around and rescue them. And even once they're saved, they just stand around in the hub world. The only other character that does anything is his classic form, which is playable in these not very good 2D levels.
Completely disagree. I thought the 2D levels with classic Sonic were epic.
Having 2 playable Sonics, though, was awesome when it came out, and makes this a clear-cut elite.
Yeah, see, I told you guys that Generations was an awesome game.
Well, at least until the added Shadow Generations, and we all know how great that game is.
This portrayal of Sonic's character isn't great. It takes his awful humor from Colors and just does it again, unapologetically.
Is it just me, or does anybody else want to punch Zaz right in the face?
If I had the opportunity, I would like to partake in the aforementioned punching.
They end up teaming up with Eggman. Tails is super pissed off at Sonic, then he high roads Tails when he does something stupid, and Tails is sad.
Yeah, about that dude, I'm really sorry that happened.
Yeah, right, you probably did it on
I was
purpose.
too slow to save my buddy. Yeah, kind of a terrible look, but it gets worse somehow. Because when a bridge him and Eggman are standing on collapses, Eggman grabs the ledge, catches Sonic, and tosses him to safety, before losing his own grip and falling to his death.
Wait, Eggman saved you in this game? Are you kidding me?
And then after that, he fell into some lava.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that, guys.
Sonic should have died on multiple occasions, but was saved by Tails and his archenemy, and they pull off the upset somehow. I want to put this one in Worthless so bad, because there's 3 really awful mistakes, but he does save the day in the end, so barely wins.
Okay, fine. I'll agree with this one. He actually makes a pretty good point.
This is the only Sonic Boom game I'll be talking about, because 1, it's the only one for home console, and 2, because what I'll say for this one applies to the rest pretty well.
Wait a second, isn't this game like exactly like Sonic Heroes?
You are correct. I have a feeling that this game is going to be put in the sidekick category.
And while Sonic is generally seen as the leader, in terms of importance, he's the same as the quote-unquote sidekicks, so...
Wow, Metal is right again? How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
Tails and Knuckles playable from the start of the game. Tails can fly, Knuckles can glide and climb, and Sonic has the drop dash, making them all feel really different and fun to play as, especially with select routes that only they can access. But for Sonic's ranking, since he's just as useful as his old sidekicks, he's going down there with him.
Then why are all of the games titled Sonic the Hedgehog instead of Sonic and his friends?
Because this faker craves the spotlight, Metal. Duh.
I hate Sonic Forces. It tries to do the Sonic Generations thing again, but lacks an ounce of creativity in doing so, and is thrown in jail afterwards for a long enough time for Eggman to completely take over the world. So Sonic loses, he's in a jail cell handcuffed, and Eggman does what he wants. Meanwhile, classic Sonic shows up and saves Tails, then contributes a little, but the new customizable character is the one that breaks Sonic out.
Yeah, I mean, the creative character thing was pretty cool, but the fact that we were the one that saved him, I thought that was weird.
I mean, no offense, but that's why Sonic Forces is one of the most hated games in the franchise, bro.
And in the big battle at the end of the game, Knuckles leads the forces, and the rookie is the one who stops the giant sun from crashing into the planet, and Sonic's helpless to the situation. He still sorta does his part, but he barely wins.
Okay, here we go, Sonic Frontiers. If this game doesn't at least get Elite, then I'm going to eat my entire left leg.
I mean, I don't know about that, but if we're going to talk about a game about me not being worthless, then I'm pretty sure this is the game.
He also takes the events of the game a lot more seriously. Instead of cracking corny jokes and sounding all high-pitched like Roger Craig Smith is known for, he sounds way more mellow and mature. His friends are all trapped in cyberspace, and it's up to him to rescue them and uncover the mysteries of the Starfall Island.
Thank you. Finally some recognition.
It feels like Sonic really grew up for this role, and his abilities are better than ever, so we've got another really strong Elite tier on our hands.
And finally, a modern Sonic game that makes it to Elite.
I'm just glad that he put it there and not worthless, because I would have lost my mind.
Yes, Sonic Superstars, I love
Sonic's
this game.
latest 2D outing brings Tails, Knuckles, and Amy back to a playable role, and they're selectable in co-op and as single-player characters right from the get-go. So like I've done for all the other games that do this, he's going in Sidekick tier. And there you have it.
I can't say I completely agree with this list, but hey, it is what it is.
I think this guy had a lot of really good points, if I'm being honest.
Anyways, everybody, if you enjoyed this, click one of the videos that's on screen right now because we're all in it and we're having an awesome time. So just go ahead and click it. Come on, you know you want to.